Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the Liberal Loudmouth. So yesterday I was out of town, so I couldn't do a video about this newly released police footage from Nex and their mother yesterday. But I'm doing that this morning, and I'm going to offer some personal insight and some opinion on what we're watching as we watch it. But before I get into that, I want to say that I have had several representatives and senators from Oklahoma reaching out to me, and I'm not going to name their names, but they've reached out to me only after this footage has come out. And basically they're saying, and these are Republicans, by the way, basically they're all saying, fuck around and find out. It was like the left needed this to be a hate crime, and the right needed it not to be a hate crime. So they just they're just, well, we're not going to say anything. Let's wait for the evidence to come out, okay? Let's wait for the evidence to come out. Yeah, except these are the same people that think Donald Trump won, right? And that Joe Biden stole the election. These are the same kind of people that are, we got to wait for all the evidence. We're not going to opine on what we already know. We're just going to wait until the government tells us what to think. But then when it came to the election, they're like, oh my God, Joe Biden stole the election. So, I mean, they're no more intelligent than your average person. And, we're talking about people who are running shit. Okay. So, don't give me that whole, well, we gotta wait for all the information before we even talk about it. As if we ever do that as a society. I mean, come on. And as if those same people don't do it in other instances. Right. Okay. So I'm going to start ranting and rambling, but let's go ahead and get into this video, and I'll pause it throughout and we'll talk about it.
Hi. Oh, no. Hey, stranger.
Hey. Oh, Mr. Thompson.
I'm on. It's Thompson. We spoke on the phone the other day.
Yes. So I'm glad you're here.
So what happened today?
I got jumped.
Tell me about it. What happened?
They've been antagonizing, the people that I got caught with?
You mean from the other day of the vaping situation?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were in this too.
Okay.
Yeah. Where's my glasses? Can't see thing.
Sorry. Okay, what I was told, they called me. I was start here. They called me, and I know all week long she's been in ISP, right? Doing great.
Okay.
And everything. We had a long talk. I mean, we've been doing awesome. And she told me, she said, Mom, she said, the 3 girls there are just, they won't leave me alone. They're making comments. They're calling us names. They're throwing stuff at us. And this is an ISP. I'm like, well, who's over this place? I said, ignore it, Dagny. Get above it. Just ignore it.
Sure.
She did until she couldn't in the bathroom. And they said that there was 3 girls that were on top of her, just beating the crap out of her. And I said, okay, so what are we doing about this? Oh, well, in a couple of days, we'll talk about it. I said, no, I want something done.
Who said it in a couple of days?
The principal.
Okay.
Why are they saying that?
So the principal that they're talking about here is Tiffany Cooper. She's the principal over Owasso High School. That lady is a piece of work, let me tell you. She is like Margaret Coates light. Every interaction that I've had with her has been relatively negative, even if it didn't need to be. She doesn't like dealing with parents. She, or at least, and again, this is my experience, right? But I have resting dick face, and, she just didn't want to deal with me at all ever. So every time I'd be in there, you could just hear her eyes rolling in the back of her head because, oh God, here's this fucking parent trying to be a part of his kid's life and make sure that his kids are educated properly, and now I have to do my job. That's Tiffany Cooper. Yeah, so let's continue.
I said, I think we need to have a police officer. It's assault because she never touched them. She never touched them. Now she did.
Based on your understanding.
Yeah. Now she did. And everyone has said it. She did throw some water at them because they,
So let me, and I appreciate, Mom, you filling it in, but Miss Dagny, why don't you tell me?
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're good, Mom. You're good.
Okay.
Mom, I know that you're like the advocate for the child, but yeah, shut up. Let Dagny speak.
I'm very much.
Sure. And I don't want to cut you off, but
I don't want to cut you off, but I'm going to.
Especially the older they are, that they can tell me essentially what happened. So let me ask you this first. And I'm taking this off of what Mom.
I mean, to be fair, he's not wrong. It just, I don't know. This guy, after watching this video, this guy irritates the shit out of me.
I just said. So clear up the confusion. When this first started happening, whatever this is going, this banter back and forth between you and the other individuals, did you at any point contact any school administration, whether it be counselor, the teacher that sits in that classroom? Did you let any of them know at any point in time?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so now this is going to be very important moving forward. When asked, did you report this harassment from these girls to anybody? She clearly says no. That's going to be a vital part of the outcome here. But I will say, and again, I've said this before, this bullying of this child has occurred in front of teachers with nothing happening, and it had gone on for a while. So, I mean, at some point, I'm sure somebody's gonna be like, well, what the hell's the point of reporting it when they don't do anything about it? And after I get beat up by 3 people, Tiffany Cooper's like, oh, why don't we just wait? Jeez. All right, let's continue.
And I'm just asking, there's no right or wrong, but why not?
I didn't really see the point in it. I told my mom no.
Sure.
There you go.
The school where they could actually do something. At any point during this whole situation, and I use the word loosely, but the banter or whatever it is going back and forth between you guys. Obviously, you know each other. Obviously, you both
don't know each other.
Well, you know of each other with the vape situations and all that.
No, before this we had no work left. Before this ISP thing, we never saw each other. The freshman or sophomore.
Okay.
We didn't know any.
Okay.
I don't know their names. I don't know.
Okay. So they just up and just decided to just start messing with you. There was
because of the way that we dress.
Okay, so you didn't do anything at all at any point in time that would have, even a couple of days ago or even a month ago or anything like that.
I don't know these girls.
Okay, all right. So they just continue to pick on you and pick on you. Then at some point you did what happened? They got up and confronted you in class, or did you say it was the bathroom or the hallway? Okay, the bathroom.
We were going to set chairs, and after we set chairs, we went to the bathroom.
Okay.
And I was talking with my friends, they were talking with their friends, and we were laughing, and they had said something like, why do they laugh like that? And they were talking about us in front of us. And so I went up there and I poured water on them.
Okay.
And then all 3 of them came at me.
Pouring the water because I'm trying to get this in my mind so I see it, as best
I had a water bottle.
Thank you. That's what I was asking. Where did you get this water? Was it a cup you found? Was it your water bottle?
It's my
your daily water bottle you carry around.
I think it was a plastic water bottle.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so you squirted them with water, or threw water on whatever it was. Okay. Then at that point, what happened?
Now, I want to point out that is also a very important part of this is the attack with water. Essentially that is what everybody's going to point at and be like, oh, look what you did. You attacked these girls. Kind of sad. Anyway, let's continue.
They came at me. They grabbed onto my hair. I grabbed onto them. I threw one of them into a paper towel dispenser, and then they got my legs out from under me and got me on the ground.
Okay, so now this is new information. So the Shayla Perez had reported that the paper towel dispenser had gotten busted. So I assumed, and that's my bad, but I assumed that it was Nex's head that was being used to open that paper towel dispenser. But here they admit to throwing this girl, one of them, into the paper towel dispenser. So, I suppose in terms of how the injury occurred, that's good because, obviously it would have been a different thing if the paper towel dispenser was the object their head was being slammed against. So that's new information. All right, let's continue.
Beating the shit out of me.
Okay.
And then my friend tried to jump in and help, but I'm not sure.
Let me rewind it again.
I grabbed onto them. I threw one of them into a paper towel dispenser, and then they got my legs out from under me and got me on the ground, started beating the shit out of me.
Okay.
And then my friends tried to jump in and help, but I'm not sure. I blacked out.
When did this happen today?
Now, you heard that. I'm not sure, I blacked out. So that indicates some kind of head trauma, some kind of head injury, a concussion or something like that.
Around 1.
Okay, so around lunchtime?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to follow up, Mom, as far as you're concerned. I'm going to definitely follow up with the school tomorrow morning. Figure out, because yes, any criminal type action, the school is supposed to give us a call.
That's right.
So whether they just got, and I'm not making excuses for them, but I've seen it happen both ways. Either maybe they forgot, maybe there was other things going on. Who knows? But the fact.
Okay, let's stop there. The school did not call, but is supposed to call. And this mom had just said that Tiffany Cooper said that they were going to wait a couple of days before they did anything about it. Did you notice that? And this cop is covering for the school. Well, they're supposed to call, but, things happen. They get busy. I mean, somebody getting beat up by 3 people and going unconscious in the bathroom. They had other more important things to deal with at the time. Wow. Okay. Let's hear what this cop has to say, and you're going to watch me get more and more irritated at this guy.
Fact of the matter is, they dropped the ball on this one of not notifying me right away.
Oh, you think?
So,
I wanted something done.
Sure.
I said, that is assault. She never laid her hands. Now, she did put water. That was wrong.
Listen. I told them I wanted something done, and they refused. Tiffany Cooper, according to her, she was talking to this principal. And again, Tiffany Cooper is Margaret Coates light. I'm telling you, I've dealt with both of these people, and they're like, they could have been twins in terms of personality. She's saying, I wanted them to do something, and they didn't. They wouldn't. And he's like, well, they dropped the ball, but, shit happens. God.
Well, and I'll explain the criminal side of that just a second.
Let me explain.
As far as the school goes, I'm
about to mansplain the shit right out this.
For what it's worth, just say I will speak to the school tomorrow. Not that it's going to make it any better, but I'm also going to gather all the information I can from all parties. Okay, so not only talking to you guys, but I am going to go talk to all the other parties tomorrow as well,
yes.
and their guardians as well, and all that good stuff. Okay, but yes, typically they're supposed to, but they're human.
I know, but if I tell them, why didn't they do it?
I don't know. I can't account for that. I don't know.
Are you hearing this right now, folks? Do I have to spell out to you the problems with this school district? Do I have to write it in fucking crayon? What? Since day one, I've been ultra critical of this school because I've dealt with this kind of crap before. When my son was being bullied, they did essentially the same damn thing. Now, the other principal, I liked that guy. He did something about it, but when it came to holding the teacher accountable who watched and witnessed this bullying, incessant bullying of my child for a long period of time, he said it wasn't. Oh, I believe him. He didn't see anything. Oh, he didn't see anything. There are just 5 or 6 kids pushing and kicking and calling names and stuff right in front of him. He didn't see nothing. This is how they operate. And keep in mind, they did something about it, but I was in the middle of a federal lawsuit against the school. So I think they probably were like, oh, shit. This dude's about to bring this into this court case that we're allowing this guy who's suing us, his son, to be bullied in school while the teacher does nothing. That's Owasso. That's Owasso.
No.
And they told me I had to
But
wait.
also, Mom, and again, I'm not taking their side or anything. I'm just telling you.
Yes, you are.
Parent to parent kind of thing. Adult to
No,
adult.
just parent to parent kind of thing. I'm here as a cop, but let me just take my badge off real quick. Let my man explain something to you, okay? That water now, that's some dangerous shit, y'all. I mean, it could have come out that water bottle at 0.7 miles an hour and got somebody right in the eye. You know what it'd be like losing an eye? Like, I'm just parent to parent. Let me explain something to you. Sorry, I keep interrupting, but ugh.
Nothing says that you can't pick up the phone either.
That's what I did.
But I mean, before you
That's what it did.
at the school, 911. I'm at whatever school. I'm at the West Campus. I've asked the school to contact one of the school resource officers. They're not doing it in a timely manner. Dispatch me one.
Wait a second. This guy is blaming her for choosing to take her child to the hospital instead of waiting to call 911 after the nurse said you should probably get in an ambulance, and the school refused to call the authorities. And this guy is saying it's the mom's fault for not calling 911 herself. If I feared for the safety of my child, I would have gone and done exactly what this parent did and taken them to the hospital first, especially if the school chose to call me on the phone. Hey, you just got the crap beat out of them by 3 people, and we believe that they went unconscious, and that we do suggest, our nurse suggests that we go to the into an ambulance, but please come here, and in the meantime, we will not be calling the authorities. Fuck right off with that.
Now, then they get on my main side channel. Hey, Officer Thompson, come out just like right now.
Officer Thompson.
We've got a student with an altercation, a situation happened at the West Campus sometime today. Can you go follow up now at the ER? So that'll just get me to the high school.
I want to say again, and forgive me, I'm going to be probably interrupting this a lot, but if that child had drugs, better believe Owasso Public Schools will be right there. We got to get them drugs out of that school, by God. By God, we're going to get them drugs out to school. Oh, you got beat up by 3 people? School would have called them immediately with the drugs. Jesus.
Much quicker.
Okay.
For your preference. You see what I'm saying?
So I should have went ahead and did it.
If the school does not want to call, you have every right as a guardian.
Okay.
I'm a police officer. If the school's not going to do it, fine.
It's your fault, Mom. It's your fault.
And you go ahead and call and say, I would like an officer here.
Oh my God.
They can't. I will show up.
Okay.
Okay. So it doesn't matter if it comes through the channel of the school or the channel of the city.
Yeah.
I will get both feeds. I will be there one way or another.
Okay.
So just food for thought for the future.
Okay. Well, hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Well, just anything in life, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, just anything in life.
As to the specifics of the criminal crime, okay?
Oh, here we go.
This is what I'm going to tell you. Yes, I can technically do a report for the assault and battery. Absolutely. Okay?
Yeah, I know. Technically, I could do it. But hear me out.
Because it's unwanted touching of one individual to another.
Wait. Unwanted touching? This motherfucker just referred to 3 girls attacking one person as unwanted touching of another. Okay.
On you. Okay. And it was unwanted. I will also tell you.
Wow.
That old saying, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Oh, here it is.
The way the courts are going to look at it is it's a mutual fight. Okay. So both parties are victims, but both parties are also suspects in this. You get what I'm saying? You're offender as well. So I will absolutely do a report. If that's what you want, I can do. Okay. But I'm just letting you know, if the other party wants to do the same thing, she's going to be, the assault will be on her as well. Because she first assaulted, she was the one who initiated it essentially, because you got freedom of speech. You can do all this all day long. The action of physically,
you got freedom of speech. Now. I want to point something out to you. There are limits to freedom of speech. Harassment is not freedom of speech. Bullying is not freedom of speech. And when you're in a school, you have a reduced amount of speech. Right? So yes, your opinions, your, thoughts, what have you. Yes, but the school can limit you. And in fact, they are supposed to, because they have policy there that says that you can't bully, you can't harass, you can't call names, you can't do this, you can't do that. So this guy's talking about freedom of speech. Not if you are harassing somebody, not if you are constant picking at them. Now, granted, Nex should have reported it. The mom should have reported it prior to this day. If they had, then it might be a little bit of a different story. So lesson to all of you out there that are dealing with this, you need to say something every time it happens, right? Every time, even if they keep refusing, because if the school keeps refusing to do anything about the bullying that you are dealing with, that is a pattern of allowing bullying, and it needs to be documented. All of those things has to be documented. So if you have children that are being bullied, make sure they file complaints. And when the child does it and they don't do anything about it, you as a parent, you need to go to the school and follow up with that. You need to talk to the principal. You need to get in there and make a record of it. And depending on your state, you can record those phone calls. In Oklahoma, single party consent. Only one person has to know that the conversation is being recorded, and you go in there and you record everything so that you have documentation of everything, because these schools have to be held accountable. So when you let them bully you by refusing to do anything about it, to me, it's kind of like bully by authority. And you don't document it and don't follow up, shit like this happens. And you get Officer Mr. Mansplain Thompson out there to tell you, well, this is what the court's going to do. You assaulted those kids too.
The moment she threw that water, you've now assaulted somebody. You made the first jack. Just because it doesn't make it right, but they defended themselves, quote unquote. You retaliated back. Now we've got this back and forth when both parties had equal opportunity to separate. So that's where I'm saying it's not going to be in the best of light for you, but I can absolutely do that if that's what you like. I'm just telling you, it may not go the direction you want it to go. I am not the judge. I'm not the jury. I'm here to just say, this is the fact.
And look at Nex's face. Look at Nex's face. They realize in that moment, oh my God, these bullies are going to get away with it again. That you could tell they were probably wanting to cry in that moment, because they realized, okay, I did that, but now I'm the one that's going to get in trouble, even though I've had to put up with them for all of these days. Do you realize how demoralizing that is? And that could be for a child to hear this Officer Thompson basically tell you, well, I could file that report, but you're going to be the one that gets charged. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. It's so upsetting.
This is what's presented. But mom as guardian, because essentially juvenile cannot make that legal decision. If you want to proceed with it, absolutely. I will have you write out a statement. I'll document it, but I'm going to have to do the same thing for them. And if they say that, I'm going to gather their information as well. And based on her own admittance on camera, as well as whenever
wow,
she essentially started it.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to drag her under the bus or anything like that. I'm just letting you know, this is what will probably happen going forward. But I can absolutely do that if that's the documentation that you would want through the criminal side. Now, through the school side, the school has their own. It's a zero tolerance, just like the vapes. All parties involved, everyone gets in trouble. With this one, it's more of we're going to cut down, see what elements meet any kind of specific crime. If when she was first explaining to me, hey, I didn't do a dang thing, minding my own business. I went to the bathroom. They followed me in there and they attacked me. Okay, she's a true victim of assault and battery.
Mhm.
She did nothing. But the fact that she threw that water, it kind of puts her.
Even though she didn't put hands on them?
It's still assault and battery. It's salt. The water.
The water.
You see what I'm saying? If you had not have done that, yeah, absolutely. Victim all day long, and I got you. And I still got you because I'm here to just put the facts down. Yeah. I'm not here but I'm just telling you.
Oh, is that what you're here for?
There's a good chance of the direction it will go when it goes to the ADA or when it goes to the judges. They're going to look at it and say, okay, let's break it down piece by piece, element by element. Who actually started the situation? Running the mouth is freedom of speech. Yeah. Unfortunately, you can say mean, hurtful things all day long.
I want to point out that this cop just said, running the mouth is freedom of speech. Unfortunately, is that unfortunate, officer? And again, I'll say harassment. You don't have the right to harass somebody. You don't have the right to say certain things. You don't have the right to use fighting words. You don't have the right to continually just target somebody and keep on and keep on and keep on and keep on when they've told you to stop. You don't have that right. That's not part of free speech. But please continue, Officer Thompson. Please continue telling them to not do what they have asked you there to do.
And you got to let it roll off your shoulder. The moment someone retaliates or does something physically or a directive threat verbally, now you have something. Throwing that water on there, just because there's water doesn't make it any better. It could have been urine. It could have been paint.
It could have been urine or paint.
Anything.
It could have been.
Because there was 3 of them.
Yeah, it could have been. It could have been plasma. It could have been radioactive waste. It could have been. Oh my God! It could have been a bowel movement, but it wasn't, Officer Thompson. It was water.
She only threw water on one.
Doesn't matter. I mean,
okay. Now, hear that? She only threw water on one. She only threw water on one. 3 of them attacked her. Now, are you telling me that the Good Samaritan law will kick in here where 3 people get to attack and pummel one person because one person got water thrown on them? And he said, doesn't matter. Yeah, I think that it does, Officer Dipshit. I think that it absolutely does. You're telling me that if I see somebody spray water on another person, I can go over there and start beating the shit out of them? Is that's what you're going to go with?
It matters for the school. The school's going to everyone's going to be disciplined. That everybody that went in there, everyone that was in her group, everybody that was in the other group. It doesn't matter if there's 3 of them fighting. They're all going to be disciplined in the school. From a criminal side of things, it doesn't make it, okay, you had 3 versus 1. It doesn't matter. What matters is who started it.
It doesn't.
And how bad of a situation.
Okay. Okay. I don't know where this guy comes up with this. Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, one person starts a fight with one person, which presumably would be the person that was mouthing off that got the water, shot at them. 12, 13, 15 people could have started beating the crap out of you. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You shot the water. You were like, human water cannon. And that's dangerous. It could have been urine. Could have been feces. Could have been radioactive waste. Doesn't matter. Okay.
Situation like, was there weapons involved? Was there not? Things like that. Okay. Yeah. But the biggest part is the fact that it's a mutual fight. So they all are victims, but they're all suspects. But she's in a little bit more victims of a situation because she's the one who started it by throwing a object or an item onto another individual, starting the incident. She's the one who started the domino effect. Yeah. If she had never done that, and I'm not blaming you.
I know.
Right. Had not have done that, and be here. Or they would have had and did their thing to you, Okay, not again. Hey, I was in the bathroom with my friends minding my own business. They started yapping. We started yapping, but nothing happened. Then they threw us in the wall. Okay. Now I have where, again, a true victim. But again.
Yeah, Nex, you're not a true victim.
Shut your mouth. As soon as you hit them with water, it does not give them the right to do it by any means. It still does not give them the right to put their hands on you at all. That's why I say they're just as guilty as you.
Oh, really?
100%. It's just, I hate to see you both, criminally wise, get hung up on something so minuscule. But I am here to do that if that's what you like.
Okay, what I want done, or what I would like done, and I hope you agree, is that you go to the school and find out why they did not call you. And
oh, lady.
You know what I mean? I want that to be known. Because
oh, lady. If only you knew this guy is paid by the school. I want you to go to the school and I want you to see why your boss didn't call you. The school pays Owasso police for that officer.
Because they are in the wrong for that.
Oh, I agree with you.
I was wrong. I didn't know I could right there. And then they said, okay, well, in 24, 48 hours, when I get all of our statements and this and that, then we'll call someone in if you want. And I'm like, okay, I thought that's the way it was done. And then I talked to my sister and she said, no, when you take her up there, get someone up there right away.
Yeah. And I will certainly absolutely help their talk. And I will document my own internal with my notes because again, there's a digital call here for this. So it's not like there's no, I mean, it's not a formal report, but there's a digital. And in that note, I'm going to explain, I'll put in there the fact that I explained the options to you. You chose, hey, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but essentially you do not want a formal prosecute right now.
Yeah.
And right now you would rather handle it civilly, internally, if you will. I'll put in there the fact that I explained the options to you. You chose, hey, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but essentially you do not want a formal prosecute right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but here's the words in your mouth because I just spent 15 minutes convincing you that if you go forward with this criminal complaint, that your child who just got beat up by these girls, that they're also going to get criminally charged. And I spent 15 minutes mansplaining the shit out of this to tell you, no, you can go forward with this, but if you do, your child's going to face the consequences because I'm Officer Thompson and I work for the Owasso Public School Police Department.
And right now you would rather handle it civilly, internally, if you will, between parent, guardian, and the school.
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't mean you can't civilly sue them. It doesn't mean that you can't have protective orders against them. I'm just giving you those options.
And I love how when the police had come out with this like 2 days ago and they, had that breakdown because they're trying to get people to stop being mad at them. They put in there that the family declined to prosecute at that time. Yeah, well, let's add a little context to that little bullet point, shall we? The fact that Officer Thompson came in and mansplained for 15 minutes that if you do this, your kid's going to get in trouble too. Yeah, for 15 minutes. And she never even said that she didn't want the officer to follow through with that. He said, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're not going to file a complaint and I'll go to the school and be like, why did you not do this? Come on, y'all.
I just want those girls to know that they need to, because they actually started everything from the get-go.
Okay.
They, from what I understand from talking with the friend, I know all the girls.
Okay.
And she told me, and then separately she told me, and the stories, it wasn't like they were together saying, okay, this is what happened.
And that's my plan is to find out tomorrow with the admin what is all going on from all sides, all corners.
There you go.
And if I can get additional facts of anything, Mom, I don't have a problem. I'll contact you and let you know. Hey, look, there's more to the story, or this is what is believed to be.
I want the parents to know
and we'll see what's going.
Yeah, I want the parents to know also what their girls are doing.
So right. And so with that, because it's a juvenile, I can't tell you what is
right. I can't. I just want you to.
So what I can tell you is I will be on conversation with the school, however that capacity may be, with the parent.
Yes.
So if I'm able and I have the ability to sit down with parent and say, look, this is what's what, which is what I'm hoping for, then absolutely.
Yes.
If it's a situation.
And why do I have the feeling that that cop was going to go to the parents of those kids and be like, hey, Nex assaulted you and you could absolutely file charges against Nex and Nex would get in trouble after you beat the crap out of him? Why do I feel like that's what Officer Thompson might do? I don't know.
Situation where it's already been handled for whatever reason and I'm behind on catching up to all that. I'm not going to call parents in after the fact and rehash everything.
And look at Nex right now. Y'all, look at Nex. She's checked out of this conversation because she realizes the bully wins again. The bully wins again. But you can tell she's just checked out. She's demoralized. Her spirit has been squashed. Her spirit has been broken. They just got the crap beat out of them, and this man is standing in front of them saying that, no, it was your fault. I feel bad for Nex. But obviously they shouldn't have thrown the water. I mean, let's not forget that's not appropriate. But I still feel terrible for this child. And I'm going to talk more about that later.
All over. But with you, I don't mind calling you saying, okay, look, this is what school has said. This is the information I've gotten. Mom, this is where I'm at now at this point, kind of thing. I have no problems with that.
Nex is done with this conversation.
Tomorrow morning when I call you before noon, if you say, hey, look, I suddenly feel like I want to go ahead and absolutely, Mom.
Okay.
Then you can come up to, I can send you an email with a digital, so you don't have a hard copy here. I'll send you a digital print of our witness statement.
There you go.
You can fill that out on her behalf of what she told you, kind of thing. I don't know. Are you going to be at school tomorrow or?
No.
Okay. They're going to keep you
They
at home.
suspended her.
Okay. So, well, and again, yeah, that's the school thing, but you'll be home. So if you say, look,
here's okay. When I reported the bullying, my child did not get suspended. When my child responded, and I told my child, I said, son, you cannot allow people to put their hands on you. You cannot allow things like that to go and challenge, because my son is really, really quick and he's very, very smart, but he's really, really quiet. And when that happened, when I found out about it, because he's just so quiet, he never told me about it, but apparently it had gone on for a while. And I told him, I'm like, look, you have got to stand up for yourself. Otherwise, they're just going to keep on doing it. And at the same time, I called the school and said, listen, I just told my child that he is to defend himself from these bullies, while also reporting the bullying and excoriating this teacher that watched it happen and just ignored it, or just wasn't paying attention to the kids in his class. And I told my son that. I was like, look, even if the school gets onto you for you responding to these kids when they start doing this, you will not get in trouble from me. And I told the principal that. I said, look, I don't really care how you feel about it, but if my child is touched by another student, my child has been instructed to touch that child back. That's the way life goes. If you get struck, you strike back. If you are pushed, punched, whatever it is, you strike back. And I told my son, you do not strike somebody that did not first strike you. You don't, if they're just yapping their gums and calling names or whatever, you make retorts. You find something about these children and you poke at it and you do it right back. If they want to give it, then they need to be able to receive it. And that's what he started doing. One of the kids pushed my son. What did my son do? Pushed him right back. And then one of the kids walked down there, grabbed something, threw it at my son. So my son had this ketchup packet in his hand and he went got that kid right in the face. Got that kid right in the face. And of course, at this point, the teacher breaks it up. And I was extremely proud of my son in that moment because I'm like, you stood up for yourself. You didn't escalate the situation. You responded. You were never the aggressor. And that is exactly how you have to be in life. My son did not get suspended. But keep in mind, I was also suing the school in federal court at the time, so they probably didn't want to deal with that. But because I had this conversation with the principal prior to this and had reported it and shown that it was an ongoing thing, there were at least 3 phone calls before it culminated in my son having to defend himself physically. Once that happened, the principal said, I watched the camera. I'm not going to suspend your son because he was defending himself. So this right here, where this cop is like, well, there's a zero tolerance policy. I mean, think about that. You're getting bullied by somebody and then they push you or whatever, and you defend yourself, and the school's like, nah, you're getting in trouble too. That sends the wrong fucking message, don't you think? Now, back in our day, it was whoever was the aggressor, whoever started the fight, they're the ones that got us suspended. Now, in this instance, it might have been Nex that was the one that got suspended because Nex shot the water bottle, right? That can be construed as starting the fight, even though I'd come on, it's water, it'll dry. Anyway, I just wanted to add that anecdote because that school does have the possibility of not suspending students should they find that those students are defending themselves from bullying. And I still laugh about my son's ketchup packet. I say, you need some ketchup holsters, son. It was funny. And, nobody got hurt. But he made it clear that, look, you're not going to do this without me responding. And all the kids laughed at the kid that got shot with the ketchup. So it all worked out in the end. But, granted, that's not Tiffany Cooper. Tiffany Cooper is, this lady is whatever. All right, let's continue.
I was restless sleeping last night. We think we'd rather go ahead and do it. Not a problem.
Okay.
I'll still take care of you. I'll just reopen this call. I'll start a report. I'll send you an email. You can fill it out with her.
Wait, he's not even going to do a report?
What she says, don't ad lib, just put the facts. And I will be asking you that when I call you. That'll be the first thing I ask you before I give you additional information.
Okay.
Because I don't want to sway you one way or another.
Yeah.
Wait,
facts.
I don't want to sway you one way or the other. What the fuck do you think you just did for 15 minutes, sir? And if you watch this, come on. Please go back and watch your interview and tell me you weren't trying to sway this family. And maybe it was you had no ulterior motive. Maybe you weren't protecting anybody. Maybe this was just you trying to be human, one human to another and expressing options, and that's perfectly fine. That's probably what you're doing. But you are definitely trying to sway this family into making a certain decision that you wanted them to make.
Well, then this, that, and the other. I would say, Mom, you've had 12 hours of sleep on it. As a guardian, what do you want to do as a parent? You make the decision, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. If you stand by it, I'm with you. If you change your mind, so be it. And then once you send me the email back and I get it all confirmed by replying back with the case number and all that. So that way you have a number associated. You can go to the records and obtain that if you want. Now, it won't give you very many facts of anything. It's going to be the basic who, what, when, where, why's to everything. But to get the actual detail of everyone's statements, schools, parents, kids, all that stuff, you have to actually subpoena for it and all that, Records Act and all that. But I don't think that's necessary personally, but that's your prerogative. But I will follow up tomorrow morning with you sometime between 9 and noon.
That's fine.
Depending on what other calls I get through the 15 schools, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
If medically here, she's got a fracture, this, that, the other, whatever it may be, that documentation, have that as well. Yeah. Because if you decide to move forward with wanting to press charges and there is something legitimate more than just a scratch. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
You know, something
yes.
that's okay, then we can document that and go from there. Okay. But I'm just giving you I'm just vomiting everything to you right now.
Yeah. I'm gonna talk with her some more, and
Okay.
I know she's hurting right now.
That's bad.
Well, I mean, it always hurts when you get in a fight, whether you're the winner or the loser.
Yeah.
It stresses the body out, and it's really not worth it. So, okay, well, that's what I'll do. Like I said, I'll get with school as soon as I can in the morning.
Okay.
Try to get what I can, and we'll go from there.
Chastise them for not calling.
Well, we'll definitely have a talk about that because they know better. And I will say, for what it's worth,
he didn't say
I've worked with her for 5 years. She's typically spot on, meaning the one who was with us and on the concert. She is she's one of the best in that school of
that's why I don't understand.
Yeah, so if I was a betting person, I would venture to say that there was something else a little bit more precedent, that was going on.
Now, the name was bleeped out, but the name of the principal, if that's who they're referring to, the name of the principal is Tiffany Cooper.
Not that this was not, but I think, like anything, maybe it was a little overwhelming than she had.
And I want to point out, Tiffany Cooper is not a minor. Bleeping out that word, bleeping out the name makes no sense at all, right? I like, is there maybe somebody can answer that in the comment section. Is there a legal reason to have bleeped out the name of the principal of a public school? Is that like a criminal thing or a legal thing?
Something else going on, and it just slipped her mind probably. Because as soon as I sent her a text message that said, "Do you know anything about a fight at the school? Because I'm going to the ER." And she goes, "Oh my gosh, yes. Can I call you?" I said, "I'm pulling to the ER now. I'll get with you tomorrow." And she's like, "Okay, I'm so sorry. Yes, there was an incident at the end of the day. I'll get with you tomorrow." And I was like, "Get ready to fill out statements and everything else because I know."
Oh my God.
She said, "Yes, sir, I know." So,
all right, thank you.
If it was any other individual, I may be a little bit more harsh about it, but she's usually on her toes.
Okay.
Usually.
If it was any other individual, I would usually be a little more harsh about it. But since again, I'm assuming that they are referring to the principal of the Owasso High School, and her name is Tiffany Cooper. He's saying if it was somebody else, I would have been a lot more harsh. But since it's Tiffany, oh, Tiffany, oh, Tiffany, she's a pretty lady. So maybe Mr. Thompson's got the old flappy eyes for her. What the fuck?
So, but I'll get with you, Mom.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you for coming up. It's nice
Absolutely.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you in person. Good luck to you. I'll see you around.
Hopefully not.
Well, no, hopefully not. She said.
Well, not in a bad way. I mean, hopefully I see you around school and class and wander in the halls and all that good stuff.
Yes,
you can smile and wave and say, "Hey, Thompson," and all that good stuff. So,
Yeah. All right.
all right.
Thank you.
You guys have a good evening.
Now, let's talk about what just happened here. If, and this is my conspiracy, one of the things that may have happened here was that after this conversation with this officer, Nex went home and was thinking about it, their spirit broken, and realized that everything I do is wrong. Everything I do is seen in a bad way, even though I am victimized by these people. Even if this is just Nex's perception and not necessarily reality, this could just be their perception. That I'm the victim of these people. They pick at me, and I'm sick of it. And when I finally did something about it in the way that I thought was appropriate at the time, I have Officer Thompson come to me and tell me that, no, you assaulted those girls and you brought what happened to you onto you. And that if you press charges, they'll press charges too. And you'll be the one found guilty because you sprayed these people with water. Even though, according to the mom, it was only one person that got sprayed with water. And that makes more sense to me than her, than Nex just, machine gun in the water across 3 people. leading to two others joining in to beat the crap out of them. So and I told people online before, because my daughter had talked to me about Nex in the classroom. And I have told them, you can go on my Twitter page, you could see some of these comments where I'm like, look, Nex was bullied, but not really for the reason that you think it is. Because the people on the left wanted this to be a hate crime. But the fact of the matter is that Nex was a troubled child. Nex had, problems at school. And I can relate to Nex. Seeing her, and I've been in situations like this as a child, and the schools failed me as well. Though I managed to find my way out of those situations, watching Nex brings back a lot of traumatic shit from my past where, because I had a really rough childhood. And I'm not trying to insert myself into this. I just want to give an example from my own personal experiences of how Nex feels, because I felt that shit too. I was watching Nex and it just reminded me so much of myself as a child that I just wanted to reach out and hug this person. Because when I was young, we were really poor all the time. And we were so poor that we lived on the river in tents for almost a year of my life. And we were beaten a lot. Close-fisted. I watched my brother get choked unconscious once. We were, thrown across the room. He would take his hands and he would put his fingers on your temple and he would lift us up. And it hurt. It hurt a lot. He did that. He called it the claw. Forgive me, but watching Nex reminded me of dealing with that stuff as a kid. Nex looks to me like somebody who has also had a rough childhood. And when I went to school, it should have been a safe place, but it wasn't. In fact, the teachers at the school made things worse. They would also make comments. They never once asked, "Are you okay?" Nobody asked me if I was okay. I wasn't okay. But they didn't care. But I had always just wished that somebody would have just sat down and talked to me. Just sat down and had just a human-to-human conversation. And this is why I break with my Republican friends, because they're opposed to things like counselors in school, because, school's only there to teach. It's like, yeah, but the kids are there for 8 hours, and they bring all their baggage with them, and we're dealing with children that don't know how to deal with these situations. And when the adults in the room are unwilling to help, it makes it hard. I didn't know how to deal with these situations, and my emotions were just everywhere. I mean, it was daily abuse. Okay, and I don't know what Nex's case is. I don't know the kind of trauma that this child had to endure. But based on what I see, this child did not have the most loving and wonderful upbringing ever. And instead of the school trying to help, as in my case as well, they would put you in a separate area with the other bad kids, right? Because I wasn't doing drugs. I wasn't violent, nothing like that. It was just an uncontrollable emotion that I had to deal with at school, and I didn't know. I didn't know how to deal with it because it was a lot. And of course, years later, I think back to it and I understand it now. But at the time, I was just a kid. So that trauma that these kids are dealing with today, when they come into these schools, they aren't adults, people. And to watch the mother and this child say, we asked the principal to do this, and the principal said no, means that they just don't give a shit. And that's still true, because it was true when I was a kid, and it's clearly true there. And maybe it's only because they just have a lot on their plate and they don't have the resources to deal with it. So instead of addressing these problems, and you can just say, well, that's the parents' fault. Yes, but we're still failing these kids. We're still failing the kids. If a child came to you hungry and you knew their parents, would you say, well, that's your parents' job? Or would you give the kids some fucking food? And kids need more than just the basic necessities. They need more than that, and they spend most of their time in the school. And forgive me for getting emotional, but watching that child sit there and have this authority figure tell them that life sucks and that you can be bullied all day long and nobody's going to do anything about it because the adults in the room are too busy. They just don't have the time for it. And maybe that's not their fault. Maybe that's the fault of the fucking state not funding these schools properly. But the kids that need the most attention are kids like Nex, where they're not bad kids. They just have some kind of emotional trauma in their life, whatever it is. I think this child had issues that were unaddressed. And you can say, well, that's the parents' job. I just can't. I lived through shit like this. I've been that child. This is why this case was so important to me, because I was that kid once. These schools have to change. They have to change. Our teachers need to have enough time in the day to address things like this. And further punishing children that are already emotionally traumatized by something that doesn't help them. And those kids, while they may be inconvenient and difficult to work with, they can grow up to be like me. I got through it, but Nex didn't. And while the girls that did this to her may not be criminally liable for it, this school has to be held accountable for these things. Or at the very least, you need to hold yourselves accountable for failing kids that need help. Some kids just need help. And the teachers that don't report this bullying and this incessant harassment and all of these things, these name calling and the pick. Oh, you dress this way, you look this way, pick. It's got to fucking stop. Well, that's just a bad kid. We're just going to have to get them out of the way so that the other kids aren't disrupted. No, those other kids are the ones that need you the most. Do something about that. Fuck. Y'all didn't do anything about it when I was a kid. And here we are fucking 30 years later, and it's still not being addressed properly because of fuckwads at the state who are like, well, we don't want DEI in the school. We don't want any kind of counseling programs in the school because the school's only there to teach ABCs 1, 2, 3s. Completely missing the fact that these kids who have issues, whose parents have issues, and ends up dragging the kids down, they have to go to school and they deal with this for 8 hours, and you expect them to act like adults. So anybody out there that wants to make light of this situation, you're a special kind of piece of fucking shit. Anybody that comes out and says that Nex fucked around and found out, I mean, I have no words to describe the kind of shitty person that you are. But there are people that are already out there saying it, and that is fucking disgusting. Anyway, I imagine the Owasso Police Department or the public school is going to have some other drip of information that they're going to put out today to protect themselves, despite the fact that they put this statement out that proves that the principal of the high school refused. The parent asked them to call and they refused. And I'm telling you, I've dealt with that woman. I didn't like that woman. I could see that woman, she just didn't give two shits about anybody but her position, her lot in life. She looks like a politician that's moving on up. That's what she was concerned with. And in order for those people to get in charge of these schools for some strange reason, their number one priority has to be covering for the school, never making the school look bad. And in doing that, and only that, and having that as their top agenda, shit like this happens. But then they come out and they work their little voodoo magic, and they just paint this narrative, and they skew the media because they control the media in the area. They do all of those things to ensure that they aren't criticized and that we followed protocol. We followed protocol. We did everything right. It was just this bad child. This bad child squirted water on somebody. Oh my goodness. I am just heartbroken that they are doing this to this child even after the child died. And they're doing it for themselves, for their own selfish fucking reasons. And if you can't see that, I don't know what to say. But that's why they're doing it. That is why they're coming out with this finally. They said nothing. And all of a sudden, oh, well, we got all this information because they've had that body cam footage since that day. They've had this. I hope Nex's mother sues the absolute fuck right out of that school. I hope she just destroys that school. And I hope they file a lawsuit against the Owasso Police Department. I hope they file a lawsuit against Officer Thompson, Mr. Mansplain. That school, the leaders of that school are problematic, and they are indicative of the same kinds of administrators that I had to deal with when I was a kid, when they didn't give two shits about me or anybody else for that matter. They just don't care. My school did shit like I was put in school suspension for, I think I was like 1 month into the school year. I was in school suspension for the rest of that entire school year, sitting in a white cinder block room all day. Couldn't go out to have lunch, didn't get recess, couldn't interact with any of the other kids other than the ones that would come and go. And I was there forever. That's the kind of shit that the schools do. That's why they create the alternative school, so that they can just pass the bad kids on. Because nobody cares about the bad kids. And this is also a society issue, where society just, if you do one bad thing and it's caught on video or admit to one bad thing or whatever, they shut everything else out, and doesn't matter, you did that one bad thing, so you're dead. And we don't care. This country needs more empathy. This country needs more understanding of context and nuance. This fucking country needs some compassion. All right, folks, that's it for today. If I see something I'll be putting another video out, so like and subscribe if you haven't already. We will catch you next time. This is Liberal Loudmouth. Peace.